UFC 291, Poirier versus Gaethje 2 for the vacant BMF belt. Now that Jorge Masvidal has retired and has gone on to promote his bare knuckle fighting organization, Game Bread Boxing, we have an up and grabs title on the line for two G's of the game in this lightweight division, Poirier and Gaethje. Some of the most exciting fighters in UFC history. Win, lose, draw, finish, decision. It is a banger no matter what between these two guys. And they're headlining the card. But that's not it. We have former champ Jan Blachowicz on the card in that co-main event, taking on Alex Pereira. Guess what? Another former champion. We got a title challenger, Paulo Costa, taking on up-and-comer Ikram Aliskerov, who has only lost to Hamza Chimaev. We got Steven Wonderboy Thompson, who has a win over champion Robert Whittaker early in his career, has beaten former title challenger Rory McDonald. He is himself a former title challenger as well, and he's taken on Michel Pereira. We have a title challenger Derrick Lewis versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Banger flyweight fight, Vinicius Salvador versus CJ Vergara. Former champ Tony Ferguson taking on Bobby Green. We got Holland versus Chiesa. Undefeated prospect Gabriel Bonfim versus Trevin Giles. Some woman. Joanne Calderwood versus Priscila Cachoeira. Matthew Semelsberger, Yohan, Lainesse, and Roman Kopylov, Claudio, Ribeiro. This is a very, very solid card, top to bottom. Even the fights you don't see a lot of the casuals going crazy over, like Gabriel Bonfim, Trevin Giles. We got some future title challengers here. Like Gabriel, I kind of peg him to be a future challenger in this welterweight division, eventually receiving a title shot later in his career. We got some veterans, and I already told you, a lot of former title challengers and champions on this card. It's going to be amazing. UFC 291. Mwah, absolutely love it. But before we get into this early UFC prediction, right now it is June, what is today? Sorry about that. What is June 7th? So we got about a month and 22 days. So 1 month, 3 weeks until this fight card happens. If you respect that I'm giving you these predictions as early as I am, go down and like the video, subscribe to the channel, you already know. But let's get into the full card prediction. First fight in the middleweight division, Roman Kopylov and Claudio Ribeiro in the middleweight division. I do have Roman Kopylov winning this fight. I think Claudio Ribeiro wins round number 1, does very good, landing some good shots on Roman Kopylov. But in round number 2 and in round number 3, Roman's going to start to land even more volume on Claudio Ribeiro, get his back to the cage, and I think Roman Kopylov's going to land a good hook with Claudio's back to the cage, land a few good ground and pound shots as well. And I got the first fight of the night ending by finish in round number 2. Roman Kopylov with a TKO. Matthew Semelsberger and Yohan Lainesse in the welterweight division. Yohan did get knocked out by Gabe Green, as well as got submitted by Mike Mallet. This fight with Matt Semelsberger, Matt does have a lot of power in his hands, dropping Jeremiah Wells twice in that fight, beating Jake Matthews before that, only losing to Alex Morono before that as well, knocking out Martin Sano and just devastating AJ Fletcher in that fight. I do believe Matt Semelsberger is going to have more volume. The power is pretty even. The wrestling, I'm going to have to go Matthew Semelsberger, and jiu-jitsu is kind of a non-factor here, but I do believe that Matthew Semelsberger is going to land those more volume on the feet than Yohan Lainesse, mixing a few takedowns as well. And I got this one being a back and forth 3-round striking affair with a few takedowns mixed in. I think Semelsberger outlands Yohan just ever so slightly. And I got Matt Semelsberger by a 29-28 decision. Joanne Wood and Priscila Cachoeira In the flyweight division, I am going with Tapology here on Cachoeira. I don't really like either girl. They're not really like the best of the best in the UFC flyweight division, but Priscila is a very, very exciting girl. She goes out there to get that finish, pressuring and throwing punches over and over and over again, searching for that TKO win. She did get submitted by Jillian Robertson in that fight, but Joanne Wood really is not known for her jiu-jitsu and wrestling and ground game, so I do believe that Priscila Cachoeira is going to go out there and lose round number 1. Joanne's going to land a little bit more volume earlier on in that fight, but I think Priscila Cachoeira is going to start to pour on that pressure in round number 2, kind of take control of that round, and in round number 3, either midway through get that ground and pound TKO, or win that round and get herself a 29-28 decision. Trevin Giles and Gabriel Bonfim in the welterweight division, only about 26 years old. As of right now, he's beaten Munir Lazzez, beat Troy Waters on the Contender Series, and a lot of other finishes earlier on in his career. I do believe he goes out there and hurts Trevin Giles on the feet because he's really not that known for his chin. I mean, he got hurt in the Michael Morales fight, very, very bad and knocked out. Got knocked out by Draco Duplessis. Gabriel Bonfim is a very solid striker as well. I think he hurts Trevin Giles on the feet, and like he did with Munir Lazzez, is going to throw something out there with some sort of submission, a guillotine, maybe a Darce, maybe he gets the back of Trevin Giles and rear nakeds him, but I do have Gabriel Bonfim with 1 minute remaining in round number 1, submitting Trevin Giles in this fight, but should be a good one. I do have Gabriel Bonfim in round number 1. Michael Chiesa and Kevin Holland in the welterweight division. Little age advantage for Kevin, a little height and reach for Kevin as well, coming off a solid knockout win on Santiago Ponzinibbio. I do believe Kevin's going to keep this one on the feet and make this fight a striking battle. He is taller, he is lengthier, he is younger, like I was saying, and he is the better striker than Michael Chiesa. I think Michael will have his moments in round number 1, maybe get a takedown or 2, but I think round 2 and round number 3, Kevin is going to outstrike Michael Chiesa on the feet. And I do have Kevin Holland by winning round 2 and winning round 3 to get that 29-28 decision. Tony Ferguson and Bobby Green in the lightweight division. I got this one going all the way. I think Bobby might get close to a finish at one point or another in this fight. This is a decent matchup for Tony. Out of all the guys Tony could have fought, I'm glad they're not giving him some up-and-coming lightweight superstar with crazy power in their hands or anything, because I don't really want to see Tony get knocked out again. And against Bobby Green, Bobby's not really known for so many knockouts in his MMA career, and he did get TKO'd by both Islam Makhachev and Drew Dober, so you never know. Tony could go out there and knock out Bobby Green, submit Bobby Green in this fight. But we got to think of this one logically. Obviously, Bobby Green is the better striker. He is younger. He's more close to his prime. Obviously, nowhere near his prime either. But I do believe he's just going to out-volume Tony Ferguson on the outside, pick apart Tony as well. Tony might have a few moments where he's throwing the Eminari roll, looking for a submission, looking for a triangle, landing some good elbows on Bobby Green. But for the most part, I think Bobby Green's going to land the better shots, land more volume, and I do have it going all the way. Bobby Green by unanimous decision. CJ Vergara and Vinicius Salvador in the flyweight division. Do have CJ Vergara winning, I think, round 1. I think Vinicius Salvador is going to do very, very good in that round. Round number 2, though, I think CJ Vergara is going to get very close to the finish and land some big shots on Salvador. Get him to the ground where he's going to land some very solid ground and pound on Vinicius Salvador as well. Get close to the finish on the ground. Vinicius will survive to round number 3 where they will have an all-out classic final round of the fight where I think CJ Vergara wins as well. I think there's a good possibility CJ could get the finish with TKO wins on Daniel Lacerda and then a TKO win on Bruno Correa. A lot of his wins are inside the distance. Very possible we see one here, but I got it going all the way. CJ Vergara by decision. Derrick Lewis and Marcos Rogerio de Lima, the same age, which is crazy here in the heavyweight division. Height advantage and reach advantage going Derrick Lewis. Power advantage going Derrick Lewis. Grappling and jiu-jitsu has to go Marcos Rogerio de Lima. But we do know Marcos Rogerio de Lima gets finished in a lot of his fights, but we know what those finishes are. Submission loss to Romanov, submission loss to Steven Struve, submission loss to Ovi St. Preux, to Gaethje Maravanta Gulov, to Nikita Krylov, to Antonio Carlos Jr. I don't even remember the last time this man has been KO'd. It's been forever. So I'm sad to say I really do want Derrick Lewis to go out there and knock out Marcos Rogerio de Lima in this fight. But like Sergey Spivak was able to, I think Marcos is going to close that distance, maybe get hit with a few good shots from Derrick Lewis, but I do believe Marcos Rogerio de Lima is going to get this fight to the ground in round number 2 or in round number 3, and I do have Marcos Rogerio de Lima finishing Derrick Lewis with a submission in round number 2 or in round number 3. Stephen Thompson and Michel Pereira in the welterweight division. Height advantage going Michel, age advantage going Michel, reach going Thompson, striking going Thompson, kicking going Thompson, punching going Thompson, wrestling and grappling. There's not much there for either guy. We already know what this fight is going to be. It's going to be a full-on kickboxing, Muay Thai, karate striking match for 3 straight rounds, possibly fight of the night. But then again, there is Poirier and Gaethje on the card. I do have it going all the way, and who's the better striker? That's who's going to win the fight. It's fairly obvious who's the better striker here. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, I do believe, is going to land more volume, landing more effective shots. Michel will have his moments doing backflips and stupid stuff off the cage. Maybe rock Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in one of these rounds. But for the most part, I think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson will win 2 out of 3 rounds. Should be a solid fight in the welterweight division with number 7, Stephen Thompson versus number 15, Michel Pereira. If Michel is able to win, that's going to push him so high in this welterweight division. But I am going to go Stephen Thompson by decision. Paulo Costa and Ikram Aliskerov in the middleweight division. I am going to go with Paulo Costa to win this fight. He is, in my opinion, the better striker. He's got some of the best takedown defense out of the top tier middleweights inside of this weight class. And Ikram Aliskerov's main path to victory here would be to wrestle and grapple. His most recent win was Phil Hawes, where he was able to TKO him in round number 1. Phil Hawes does not have a good chin. I'm going to say that right now. Paulo Costa does have a very decent chin, in my opinion. So I think this one is going to be mainly a striking match with Paulo defending those takedowns. And I do believe with Paulo being the slightly better striker here, I think he's going to land more shots, possibly even rock Ikram Aliskerov on the feet for a very close 29-28 split decision win for Paulo Borrachinia, the Eraser Costa. Alex Pereira and Jan Blachowicz in the light heavyweight division. Now. I'm gonna go Jan Blachowicz to win. But I've been watching some interviews, I've been seeing some quotes from this guy Jan Blachowicz saying, I want to test my striking against one of the best strikers in UFC history, in kickboxing history. I don't want to go for the takedown. What are you doing, Jan Blachowicz? Go for the goddamn takedown. You do not want to strike with a guy like Alex Pereira, who has the power and the dynamite in both of his hands. You don't want to do that. My prediction is Jan Blachowicz to win this fight in round number 2 or round number 3 with an arm triangle choke submission. But, Alex Pereira, if Jan Blachowicz goes out there and does not respect the striking of Alex Pereira and just strikes with him, I might change my prediction. But I can't, because it's a prediction. What do I think is going to happen before the fight actually happens? Really comes down to the fight IQ of Jan Blachowicz. If he's saying he wants to go out there and strike with Alex Pereira, oh God, I hope he doesn't. I really hope he does. I don't think he will. I think he's going to get hit with a few good shots and be like, nah, I'm taking this dude down. But if he goes out there and tries to strike with him, I'm gonna feel very bad about this prediction. But I do have Jan Blachowicz landing the takedowns in round number 1, landing some good ground and pound, wearing on the gas tank of Alex Pereira. Round number 2, a little bit of the same thing. And right at the end of round number 2, or towards the middle of round number 3, I got Jan catching him with an arm, a triangle, choke submission. Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje 2 in the lightweight division, both pretty much the same age. A little height advantage going Gaethje, a little reach advantage going Dustin Poirier. And for this fight, it's going to come down to fight IQ. There will be some wrestling, there will be some grappling mixed in this fight, but that's not going to be the dominant force of this fight in the UFC lightweight division. For the most part, this is going to be a striking match between Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. And first off, power is pretty even. Fight IQ, we're going to have to go Dustin Poirier there. Speed, timing, precision, we're going to have to go Dustin Poirier there. So the only way I'm really seeing like a good path to victory for Justin Gaethje to win would be if he's able to rock Dustin Poirier very early on in this fight and continue to rock him every now and then throughout it. Rock him in round 1, rocking him in round number 3, and then rocking him in round number 5 could definitely get Justin Gaethje the win if he's able to actually rock him throughout the fight and not only just in one of the rounds. I don't think that's going to happen. Poirier is very good at adjusting to his opponents and changing game plans mid-fight and using his technique and precision and using all of that to get in on his opponents in the later portions of the fight, like he was able to after a pretty bad round 1 against Michael Chandler, was able to do very good in round number 2 and round number 3. I got Gaethje winning round number 1. I got Poirier winning round number 2. I got Gaethje coming back for a good round number 3. Poirier winning round number 4. And then it comes down to round number 5. In one of those rounds, Poirier probably gets dropped. In one of those rounds, Gaethje's probably going to get dropped. But I think it's going to come down to round number 5 to see who wins the fight. We're going to have an all-time classic Gaethje and Poirier looking at each other right before the round 5 starts. And we're going to see pure violence in round number 5. And Gaethje's going to be pressuring forward, walking in to counters Dustin Poirier. Poirier is going to get hit with some good shots, but Poirier is going to counter Gaethje coming in. And I think that's going to be the difference maker there. Poirier catching him a little bit in round 5. I got Poirier winning round number 1, winning round number 2, round number 4, and in round number 5. What do you think about that? In the UFC lightweight division, Gaethje or Poirier? I got Dustin Poirier. That is the full card prediction for UFC 291 Poirier versus Gaethje 2. I got Poirier by unanimous decision. I got Jan Blachowicz by arm triangle in round 2 or round 3. Paulo Costa by decision. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson by a decision. Marcos Rogerio de Lima, who I am kind of convinced that he's an underdog, but I'm not too sure. Let me see. Yeah, Marcos Rogerio de Lima is an underdog, and so is Paulo Costa. So we do actually have 2 underdogs already for UFC 291. I had CJ Vergara winning. I had Bobby Green by a decision. CJ Vergara by a decision as well. Kevin Holland by a decision. Gabriel Bonfim by submission round 1. Priscila Cachoeira round 3 finish or decision. Matt Semelsberger by decision. And Roman Kopylov with the TKO. That's the full card prediction. Like and subscribe as usual. And obviously comment your predictions as well. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.